Welcome to our channel. On today's video, we're going to share how we made this beautiful bunny head structure and how you can recreate it specifically for outdoor installations.
We're going to start off by taking our PVC pipe and we're going to cut it using our PVC cutters. These cutters you can buy at any hardware store, or you could also find it on Amazon for as low as $19.99. There's no specific length that you're going to be cutting these at. In our case, what we did was we cut them to a size that was going to give us a diameter of 4.5 feet. This will take some trial and error. We're going to measure 44 inches. Put it down.
What happens at 44 inches?
That's the center. 44 inches is the center. And now we're going to go to 88 inches. To make the ears, we're using a 1/4 inch aluminum rod that we purchased at our local balloon supplier. If you don't have that, what you can do is you can go on Amazon and purchase this aluminum craft wire, which is 8 gauge. You want a thicker gauge. That way you can mold it into whatever shape it is that you're looking for. To cut the aluminum rod, we're going to use a metal pipe cutter, which you can easily purchase at your local home hardware store or on Amazon. The blade on the cutter that I was using was a little dull, so it wouldn't cut all the way through. But if this happens to you, what you can do is cut as much as you can and then just snap it off like you see in the video. I'm marking 6 inches from the end.
And that is essentially the part that's gonna go here. So one part here, and then the ear.
To get the shape of the ear, Alex and I are using this column on our front porch, and we're going to place the 44-inch mark on our aluminum rod on the corner of the column and then fold to give us the peak or top of the ear. We're going to use a small piece of the PVC pipe or the plastic pipe, if that's what you want to call it, and we're going to line it up with the 6-inch mark, and we're going to use it as leverage to bend the rod. One thing to keep in mind is that the aluminum rod is a bit more difficult to bend as opposed to the 8 gauge wire that I showed you earlier that you can find on Amazon. In this particular case, I actually bent it way too much. I shouldn't have gone at, a 90-degree angle or whatever type of angle that is. And you're going to see in a minute why I shouldn't have done that. Instead, I should have made the angle a bit bigger. Try to match it as best as possible without going over, because bending it back is a lot more difficult than when you bent it the first time. The client asked for 2 of these bunny heads, so we are going to repeat the process another 3 times. I normally do not use a sizer when I'm inflating balloons, but in this case, we wanted the balloons to be as consistent as possible, so we're inflating them to a size of 9 inches. I'm going to use the Legenda B231 to inflate pairs of 5-inch balloons measured at 1.3. This is roughly about 3.5 inches. I inflated 40 pairs of balloons at this particular moment. However, we used a lot more than that because we were doing 4 ears, and it all depends on the size of the ears that you're doing, so you want to inflate as you go as well. Once you inflate your pairs, you want to go ahead and take 2 pairs and twist them into a quad. Now we're going to be using the quads to fill the rim of the bunny ears, as you see in the video. You want to start at the peak of the ear and then just work your way down the sides. We also inflated a few other quads of the 5-inch balloons, again at 1.3 or 3.5 inches in an ivory color That way, just to give it a little bit of contrast and just to make it a little bit nicer and make it look like an actual bunny ear. However, you can choose any color to match the rest of the decor or whatever the theme of the party is. We used a 260 or half of a 260 to string 5 quads and 1 pair at the very top, which is going to tuck into the peak of the ear. You want to take that pair and tuck it in nice and tight to that peak and use the remainder of the 260 to tie off to the aluminum rod or to the wire that you use to create the shape of the actual ear. My fingers are kind of thick, so it took me a little while to get this tied into the rod, but finally I got it done. And our bunny ear is really starting to come together now. We're going to take half of a 260 and tie one end to the rod just above the last white quad. And we're going to run it between the last 2 yellow quads and tie the other end right above the white quad on the rod. We're going to twist the 260 around it and then we're going to tie it off. We're going to attach the ears to the actual hoop, and we're going to accomplish that by using Gorilla Tape. Gorilla Tape is a very strong duct tape. I have a lot of confidence in it, and I know that it's going to hold well in this outdoor application because this is going to be in a farm where there's a lot of wind, and I know that it holds very well. We use the tape at the angle that we bent and also at the end of the rod. Now that we have one ear secured to the hoop, we're going to grab the other ear and we're going to overlap it at the angles. If you can see clearly on this video, we're overlapping at the angles. And we're going to repeat the process as we did on that first ear.
For the rest of the bunny head, what we're going to do is we're going to use our 9-inch balloons previously inflated, and we're going to wrap them around the frame in a very particular way. So we could do quads and just twist the quad onto the frame, but I find that when I do quads, the spacing in between the quads is a little more noticeable. So the way I like doing it is I take the duplex just like you see it here, and then I push it all the way very close to the other duplex. So I'm not twisting anything. And the reason I don't twist it is because the PVC pipe is a little too thick. So I don't want to put any pressure on my balloons, especially because this is going outdoors and I want to make sure that it lasts all day. So you kind of just working with the duplex, but you're not twisting around the frame, just the way I'm showing you here. So just put your duplex and then position your duplex the way that you want it to look, like just like so at this very moment of the video. And then you just push it all the way as much as you can close to the other duplex. Here you can see it again. And then you push it all the way in. And the next duplex is going to secure that previous duplex. Okay, so I know it's easier with the visual, so make sure that you follow along. And again, you could definitely use your quads if you want, or you can go ahead and twist it. I find that this method is a lot more safe for this particular type of design. So that's what I do.
This bunny head is starting to look really good right now, guys. We can now start to fill in those gaps that we see throughout the structure. We're going to start with the ears, and we're going to use either a quad or a pair or duplex, as Alex likes to call it, or one of the mini clusters that you see there that she's already attached. Moving on to the head portion of the structure, Alex is using half of a 260 and ties one end to a quad and the other end to a mini cluster. And this is how she makes the mini clusters. She's going to inflate the balloon, a 5-inch balloon, larger than it should be, lets a little bit of air out, ties a knot, pushes that knot all the way up to the top. Then using her index and her thumb, or middle finger and her thumb, she squeezes the neck of the balloon to the bottom of the balloon, twists at the middle, and then she wraps the neck of the balloon around that twist. She repeats the process with another 5-inch balloon. And then she twists both of them together, creating the mini cluster. Again, she ties the one end of the 260 to the mini cluster. This process is going to be repeated as many times as you see fit to cover the gaps. We also use smaller pairs or duplexes to cover the smaller gaps in between the balloons. These gaps were too small to use the bigger fillers that we were using previously. For the ivory portion of the ears, Alex is using 2 mini clusters tied to each end of half of a 260 to fill in the gaps. This area here is throwing off the shape of the head, so Alex is going to add a duplex. She's going to tie it neck to neck, and it's going to give it that rounded shape that she's looking for. We're on site to install these now. Only one of them could fit into our van, so we had to actually put together the other one. And we're going to pretty much do the same process that we showed you throughout the video, except that we brought the ears already put together with the balloons. We're just going to tie them to the actual hoop. We really hope that you're enjoying this video, guys. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And don't forget to click on that notification bell so you're notified each time that we upload a new video. Whenever you're installing outdoors, you might want to have a second person there to help you out if you don't already. Even though this was at 7 o'clock in the morning and you can't tell by the trees that there's no wind, there was a little bit of wind there, and the balloons could have flown away. It would have been difficult for the one person to hold the structure and tie the balloons to it. So this is really a 2-person job here. To attach the heads to the fence, what I used was a 1/4-inch rope that I purchased at my local home hardware store, but you could also find these on Amazon, and they're fairly inexpensive. There were 3 points of attachment on these, particularly because of the wind. I wanted to make sure that they were nice and secure to ensure that the wind wasn't going to whip them around much. And this is the final product, guys. It's perfect for all your Easter decor ideas, or like in our case, a bunny birthday party theme. The possibilities are endless. You got the idea now in case you need to do a cat theme, for instance. Although we're most known for creating epic balloon garlands, which, by the way, if you're interested in learning how we make those, we have a super inexpensive class. I'll add the link below. But what I was saying is that you can have fun creating different balloon designs and expand. Check out this balloon bow if you haven't. It's super easy to make. That's all we have for you today. Remember to like this video and subscribe. That's the best way you can support this channel so we can continue to create content for you. And let me know in the comments below what your favorite part of this video was and what you'd like to see next. See you in the next video. Peace.